Hey everyone, this is Karla Maria. She is the preeminent Amazon ebook publishing expert and coach in the fiction realm. So welcome Karla Maria to the Tina TV.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so just for everybody to know, we actually originally met through Dan Locke's mastermind group about a year ago, I guess now.
Yep. hmm
Yeah, about a year ago. And the first time I heard what she did, I was really surprised. So why don't you tell me a little bit about not me, but somebody else, what you do specifically?
Sure. So I publish ebooks on Amazon in romance. So, we've all been around romance novels throughout the years. I mean, when I was a kid, they were like by the grocery store checkout, kind of like behind the counter, all the Harlequin covers with the like ripply chested guys
Yeah.
and long flowing hair and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I publish romance books. I've been doing it for a few years. And it's been quite successful over the past few years. And in the past couple of years, I've been coaching other people on how to do it. So I've been teaching them. And that is primarily where my focus is now, is in teaching and helping others create profitable ebook publishing businesses.
Yeah. And what's interesting about you, Karla, is that your past is very different than what you're doing right now. So
Very
you used
different.
to be a musician
Yeah.
traveling out of your van, your musician van. Is that right?
Yeah, there was, yeah, I spent months and months and months traveling across Canada in a van with like 8 other people on tour. And that was my life for several years, actually. I think like in total, 6 years I spent on the road, like off and on. So I'd go on tour, play shows and festivals, and then come back and work as a waitress, make some money, and go back on the road. Not making very much money. And
Right,
as a
right.
musician, definitely not a lucrative lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. So then what brought you, I mean, you were doing that for 6 years, so that's a really long time.
Yeah.
What brought you from there to where you are right now?
Okay, sure. So I left that life of being a musician on the road quite a while ago, I guess 8 years ago. And it was starting to be really exhausting. Like it wasn't as fulfilling anymore. And I was getting like tired of um, just living that way. And it's not the healthiest lifestyle either, because you're just eating on the go all the time, not sleeping, sitting in a van all the time, partying way too much too, drinking too much because of the fact it's always there. Like you go into a venue where you're playing a show and have a sound check, and it's like, okay, well, here are drink tickets. So what do? You have drinks, right? So I
Right.
just started to recognize it just wasn't the healthiest lifestyle, and wasn't in sync with the vision I had for my life.
Okay. And what's the
And
vision that you had?
the vision I had was one of health and balance and peace and um, abundance, essentially. So none of
Okay.
those boxes were being checked off really by having that lifestyle.
Right.
But like, don't get me wrong, I loved playing music and I loved playing shows, and like the energy from that was absolutely incredible. And I'm so glad I had that experience. But as I was in the band, I mean, I was also very much into meditation and yoga. And I remember like being in hotel rooms on tour, like we staying in hotels, and I'd go down like the gym in the hotel and like do yoga in the morning by myself. That I realized I was being pulled more towards that sort of a thing in life. And so I quit the band, and then I became a yoga teacher. I went to Bali, learned to
Of
be a yoga
course.
teacher there. So
Yeah.
I was there for a couple months, did
A couple
my
of
teacher
months. Wow.
training, and
Okay.
came back. And anyhow, so long story short, I became a yoga teacher after I was a
Mm.
musician. And again, I also had a kid in there somewhere in between. Um,
Okay. So because in order for somebody to go from playing in a band and partying and you know what I mean, from
yeah,
that to switching completely over to getting yoga certified in Bali,
yeah.
that did something happen there? Was there a pivotal point in which brought you to that state?
With being in a band, you don't make much money. I was very broke. I was very much in debt because I was putting a lot on credit, like just trying to make this lifestyle work. And so I decided, after a while, I just decided I can't do this anymore. It wasn't as fulfilling. I wanted to pursue relationships and everything too. And it's really hard to be in a relationship with someone while you're on the road. So yeah, I was a yoga teacher for a couple of years. Had my son, which was awesome, obviously. But also being a yoga teacher, I was teaching 20 plus classes a week, and making like okay money, but there was no room for growth because obviously you can't scale something like teaching yoga, right? So if you're doing just like actual classes in studios and whatnot. So I just realized I'm like, I need to get into something where there is the potential for passive income, where I can make money while I sleep and that I can scale and start to free up some time. I was reading like the 4-Hour Work Week, all of these things, which just started to get me thinking in a different way, like a little out of the box, more unconventional. And I just feel like I was pulled towards that. And I mean, I haven't led the most conventional life in general. So me jumping into doing something like weird, like publishing ebooks, it wasn't that big of a step for me. And it's like when I remember at the beginning, like telling my partner and stuff like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be publishing ebooks. He's like, okay, sure. Let's check it out. I'm like, I'm going to be making lots of money. He's like, right. Yeah. And that's what I did. I just started to learn and started to explore that and experiment, and took a basic intro course, which was helpful for me, kind of like getting the basics. And then I just started to kind of forge my own path and test things out. And I found success.
Yeah, you definitely have. And so I'm going to tell a story real quickly of what happened at TNC. Okay. Which was, so I know, you have a following and they love you. Okay. So we were at this internet marketing conference and I was talking to a fellow who was telling me about how he did romance Kindle publishing.
Oh, this was at Funnel Hacking. This is Funnel Hacking. Yeah.
This is at Funnel Hacking.
Sorry. We've been at a couple conferences over the past couple months.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Okay, so that was at Funnel Hacking. And then I told him, I was like, hey, have you met Karla Marie? And he was like, he almost just like crapped his pants. He was like, oh my gosh, that's Karla Marie. And he just like beeline towards me. Wait, I'm sorry. Like pushed me aside.
Oh, funny.
And he just like went towards you. And it's just so interesting because you clearly impact a lot of these people's lives. I mean, taking them from zero, right, to making a lot of money. As some of your clients are making like how much?
Like five-figure months.
5-figure months?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Some of those top students have had as high as like 6-figure months. So yes, it is a pretty awesome opportunity for people who are like committed and really want to do it and are ready to stay focused, right? So
yeah, that's insane. How does that feel? How does that feel when you get an email that said, hey, Karla, this is how you changed my life and this is what happened to me, and they share their journey? How does that feel to you?
It's so fulfilling. And that's why I do this. Like, that is why I'm so focused on teaching, because I know that this is how I can impact people in a huge, huge way. And I have impacted so many people. I've worked with hundreds of people now in the past couple of years. So yeah, I love it. It feels really, really good to know that I have helped make these people's lives better, like for them and their families, help them achieve some goals. And I just feel like I was exactly where they were. Like when they start working with me, I'm like, I was you. Like I was in this place where I had this drive and I really wanted to make this work and I wanted my life to look a different way. So, I help to give people the tools to do that, and not just like the actual like how-to tactical tools, but I'm super into mindset and cultivating a way of being essentially that is conducive to success.
Yes. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about that. Do you have any specific practices of mindset or spiritual practices?
Oh yeah, definitely. So meditation is huge for me, has been for several years. Been meditating regularly for I guess, 13 years now. And it is such an important part of my life, just to bring that stillness into my mind on a daily basis. So I have a meditation practice, yoga practice as well. I do yoga about five times a week. And so yes, that's very important. Also journaling, really staying present with with what I'm creating. And so whether or not you acknowledge it or, you know, you can see it, we are constantly creating our realities through our decisions and what we think and what we feel. So if we're doing this anyhow, unconsciously, why not focus and create exactly what you want and have everything fall into alignment the way you want it to look? So we all have the opportunity to do that. And it's pretty amazing. Not to say everything just is like smooth sailing and great all the time, because of course there are challenges, and it's all part of learning and part of the process. But yeah, we all have this opportunity to choose to be in alignment with some kind of result that we want. So, so yeah, be decisive, make that choice, be committed. That's kind of what I'm going for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So being a female entrepreneur specifically, do you have any advice for any female entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general out there?
Advice would be to stay focused and stay committed. I've seen so many people now. I've worked with so many people from all over the world, like across 6 continents, men, women, young, old, so many different backgrounds. And I can tell you that what separates those who are really, really successful from those who have had minimal success or like no success is the amount of action they take. But the amount of action they take, it is usually determined by what they believe about themselves. Yes. And whether or not they actually believe that they can reach their goals that they've set out for themselves. And so the more clutter and stuff that there is kind of in their minds and in their ideas of what they're actually worth, their self-worth, the more clutter that is, and the more like, you know, criticism, little critical voices coming in, the less likely it is that they're going to take clear, decisive, right action. So your first job as an entrepreneur is to actively clean out that that clutter, get yourself clear. And that's why I love meditation, because it just is built into my day where I just sit and I just be and I breathe. And that alone, it just brings so much more clarity throughout the day. And people who have never meditated, or, you know, they're very much like everything needs to be logical, it's hard for them to see how that actually happens, but it's more of an experiential knowing. So once you start doing it, you start to see that you just have more clarity when you meditate, when you are actively bringing stillness into your life. And it's much easier to take action that needs to be taken when you are coming from a place of clarity and like I said, believing in yourself and believing that in your own self-worth.
Oh man, you're hitting me pretty hard right now, because the clarity that you mentioned, that's everything.
Yes.
And that's what I've been really noticing, is that, okay, I'm not taking as fast of an action because I don't have clarity.
Yes.
And it starts there.
For sure.
That is a really good point. As far as finding that clarity, is it the journaling? Is it the meditation? For you, it's meditation, or is it a combination?
Yeah. It's a combination. And the thing is, it's not the kind of thing where you can just do it once and be like, okay, I'm good. Like you can't just like meditate once, or like do yoga once, or do journaling like once a month or something and be like, okay, good. It is a constant reconditioning of your mind, because we have all taken on so much conditioning from our families, from our society, from friends, from media, all of this. We're conditioned to think a certain way. And so for us to start to essentially reprogram ourselves to think a different way and think ourselves at a different level, that requires constant conditioning, like daily journaling. Yeah. So writing out goals, really feeling them. And so yeah, more than just the activity of journaling, but actually getting into the emotional feeling tone of what you want to be creating in your life, and really connecting to that on a feeling level. It's super powerful. So that's where I get a lot of clarity from, is consciously every day connecting to what am I creating? Like, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? And yeah, I'm constantly kind of like digging at that too, because it's not something that you just set once and you're like, okay, I'm
Right.
good. I just want this. And once I achieve it, it'll be great, because everything's just
It's
in a
an
state of
ongoing.
becoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Love it so much. So, Karla, I want to ask, what does success for you mean?
It's a really good question, because I've been visiting that a lot lately. And I was looking at, because I mean, income wise, my life has completely changed over the past few years.
Hmm.
Built a multiple 6-figure business in the past few years. So income wise, it's like, wow, yeah, things have changed a lot. So I've had like success that way, but that in itself is not success to me. So I've realized, especially more recently, success to me is uh, being happy. Like, that is truly like what success is to me. That's what it feels like. And to have financial peace, to have, a state where I'm not worrying about finances and whatnot, that helps contribute to my state of feeling happy. So
Okay.
I've realized that that to me is success, and also really feeling a sense of fulfillment. So there are a lot of different opportunities to make money now. Like, they're abundant, especially like like Tina and I, we're both at these conferences in the past few months, and you see people making like so much money and so many different opportunities. And it's just like
Yeah.
mind blowing, and it's really exciting. But it's like, a lot of these opportunities, I don't think I'd feel very fulfilled in. Like, it's, sure, you can go in and you can follow a blueprint and you take massive action and create success at anything. There's a lot of different paths to follow, but you have to look at like, how is that going to feel to you? And I realized that like me doing something where I can directly impact people, and it's almost like tangible. Like, I'm like, this is a person, and like my students, like I'm
Yeah.
impacting you and I'm helping you shift to a better life, essentially. Like, that to me is super fulfilling. So that to me
Oh, I
is
love that.
success. And yeah, happiness, feeling at peace. um yeah, I feel like I've reached I feel successful in my life in general, because of how my life looks now. Like, there is a lot of freedom of location, freedom to schedule my time how I want. I get to spend a lot of time with my family. I live in a beautiful place.
Yes, your place looks amazing.
Yes, it's great. It's really gorgeous. I live
Oh,
in British Columbia, Canada, a few hours inland from Vancouver, and it's really gorgeous here. I live on a
with the
lake.
lake. Yes.
Yes, yeah, it's beautiful. Um, so that to me, that is success, but it's always like in a state of becoming. So
Yes.
it's not like, okay, oh, I'm done. I'm just gonna like hang out, but
Right.
I'm just gonna continue to look at and question, like, what do I want my life to look like? And I realized for myself, I don't want my life to look like working 70-hour weeks, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs who, they left the corporate world and they're creating things, their own businesses and stuff, but they work tirelessly all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want my life to look like that either. So just finding a balance between um, between putting in action that needs to be taken, and creating my business, and doing everything I need to do, but also having that time to be with my family, to feel peace, to practice self-care, because I find that sometimes is the first thing to go when you're really busy, is you don't take care of yourself, and then everything is thrown off, right? So I just realized, like, finding that balance. The thing is, and it isn't like an ultimate balance. It's always a balancing. It's always kind of just a in movement, in motion
Yeah.
kind of thing, So Yeah, I guess I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it totally does. You went far beyond. You went deep.
Okay,
That's
success. That's
that's great.
success to me. And I'm not into stuff. And like I've shared that with my students and with on interviews before. Like I'm not into a lot of like brand name stuff or like cars or stuff like that, but I love like living in a beautiful place. I
Yeah.
love travel and I love like having different food experiences and like wine and all this kind of stuff. My partner, husband, guy is he's in the wine industry, and so we get to do.
And you're in a wine
Yeah,
location.
yeah. I live in a wine region in
Right.
Okanagan, and
So
so
perfect.
I'm surrounded by vineyards, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's pretty cool. So I'm happy with how
Yeah.
things are,
Oh,
and
I
that
love that.
feels successful to me.
Yes, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. And I love your definition because a lot of times people give me one worded answer is just, oh, when you're happy, and that's it, which
yeah,
I get, but like, yeah, the fulfillment, the happiness from the fulfillment, and how you do want to be high touch with impacting people
for sure.
directly. And
Yeah,
you're literally doing that.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's
that's so
great.
great. That's so great.
For sure. And I want to stress too that like money does play into success because it
Oh,
just makes things easier, more
yeah. Mhm.
fluid. It opens up experiences. And I think a lot of people have kind of skewed conditioning around money too, that, money is, they should feel guilty if they want money or all that kind of stuff. So getting over a lot of that. And I've gotten over a lot of that in the past few years. And I'm like welcoming and open to money
Yeah.
flowing
Come
into my
on.
life. And that's why I like, and helping other people flow money into their life too.
That's
So
great.
yeah.
So, do you have, where can people go to learn a little bit more about you specifically?
Oh, okay. Probably the best place is to join my Facebook community. I have a free Facebook community, so I'll give you the
And
the
we'll link
link.
that below. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the best place. Come join me there. I'm always in there answering questions or doing posts. You'll find a mix in there of like um, strategic, like self-publishing strategy sort of posts, as well as mindset posts.
Yes.
Because I honestly, and I believe this 100% from my experience, the experience of my students, the experience of like people like you, Tina, and all the entrepreneurs that I hang out with and mentors and everything, is that success seriously is 85% at least mindset,
Yeah.
like for sure. So I really focus heavily on that in the group. So even if you're not into self-publishing, you just want to come hang out, you can come hang out with me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's probably the best way.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you,
allowing me
Tina.
to do an interview with you. This has been really great. I think
Yeah, this
I
is
got
fun.
a real deep insight that we haven't talked about this. So this has been
Cool.
really nice.
Awesome. Yeah, that was fun.
If you want to check out Karla Maria, click on the description below. I'm going to put a link down there. And also, of course, subscribe and share. And I will see you on the next episode.